In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make this cute little sunflower. But instead of these dark colors, I'm going to use a different color variation so that you can see better. And this is a free pattern that's available at maggiescrochet.com. I'm going to start with a slip knot, and the directions say to chain 2, 1, 2, and then work 8 single crochets in the second chain from hook. So that's what I'm doing there. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet right here, and then a slip stitch. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to work 2 single crochets in each. No, I'm going to single crochet and chain 1 all the way around. So I'm working a single and then chain 1 in every stitch. So I'm going to land up with 8 chain 1 spaces. Okay, so right there, I'm going to count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this will be the 8th one right here. And then it says to join with slip stitch to first single crochet, which I did. And then it says to slip stitch in next chain 1 space and chain 1 and single in the same space. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to single in the next chain 1 space all the way around. So right here, 1, 2, and then single, 1, 2, and then single, 1, 2. I have a lot of basic crochet videos if you're having a hard time with any of the stitches. There's great videos that I have that explain the basic stitches. They're on the Maggie Weldon YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm going to count before I join the round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this will be 8. So I'm going to join with a slip stitch right here. Then I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to tighten the back part. And I'm going to cut, I cut back here, I leave long ends so I can sew them in later, like that. And that's the center, made out of peach. So then I am going to do a darker peach. Okay, I'm going to add a dark pink to the outside instead of the yellow. So it says join with a slip stitch to any single crochet. So I've got a loop on my hook, and I'm going to insert through the single crochet, draw up a loop, and then draw that through the loop that's on my hook. And then I'm going to chain 3, and then it's work 2 trebles in the chain 2 space. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then a picot, 1, 2, 3, and then it says to slip stitch in the 3rd chain from hook. And then I'm going to work 2 more treble like this, and then I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch in the next single there. And on this sample I worked in sport weight yarn, and it's actually a sport weight cotton, so it came out a lot smaller than this one because this one I'm using worsted weight yarn. So here I'm going to chain 3 and work 2 trebles for the next petal. And then I'm going to do a picot, which is chain 3, slip stitch in the 3rd chain from hook like that, and then I'm going to do 2 more trebles in the chain 2 space, and then I'm going to chain 3, And the chain 3 brings me back down to the next single. I'm going to slip stitch in there, and then the next chain 3 brings me up for the next petal. One, two, three. Okay, 2 more trebles. So basically each petal is created with a shell, and the shell is 2 trebles, picot, and 2 trebles into the chain 2 space. So you do the trebles. Oh, that was a double. So for a treble, you get yarn over twice, and all the basic stitches are on the YouTube channel if you don't know any of these stitches. 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch back in the next single. So far I'm halfway done, and I've got half more to go, so I'm just going to speed it up a little bit so you can see the finish. 1, 2, 3. I'm using one of the Tulip Edamo hooks that I just love, and this is one of the new hooks that are coming out, and I just saw them at TNA and I ordered them for the website. They are just so nice to use. We're going to carry them individually and in a set, so if you want to just try one. And then these pink ones, they come in this unbelievably gorgeous set. It's got 10 hooks in a case, and the case is just beautiful. Okay, we're almost there. I kind of like the big size now, and I kind of like these colors. At first I was like, oh, I'm very traditional a lot of times, and sometimes I see flowers that were just made without any you know, real representation of a flower, but they're so beautiful, and it's just like, oh, I'd love to design a little bit more carefree and not be so worried that I always think, oh, is there a color, is there a flower that's actually that color? So it keeps me from experimenting sometimes. Okay, I'm on the last one, and I've got 1 chain 2 space left to work in, but see how pretty it's coming out. Really is nice. So you could embellish purses with this, or pillows, or make cute little hair barrettes or headbands. My daughter has a little vintage store in downtown Greensboro, North Carolina, and she crochets little bows and puts them on barrettes, and every time I see her I forget to ask her to show them to me, but they sell like crazy. Okay, last thing you do is chain 3 to get down to that last slip stitch, and you just slip stitch into, you can either go back into that chain 2 space, or you can join with a slip stitch to the first slip stitch, which is what I'm doing right there. And then I am going to, I'm not going to chain because I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. But if I wasn't going to sew this in for quite a while, because this leaves it kind of loose, because to lock it really good you would go like this and then cut it and pull it out. But right now I'm just going to cut this. I'm going to cut back here. And you may want to leave that longer if you want to sew it to something. So then I take a needle which is called a yarn darner, and it's a really sharp tip, and that's what I like. Okay, and I fold the yarn over the eye of the hook, and then I push the fold through the eye of the hook, and I'm going to pull this tight, and then I'm going to secure it back here, and I'm going to sew in about 1/2 of an inch, and then I'm going to go just a tiny bit, and then one more time should be fine. It depends on what you use your pieces for. If you were sewing in ends on Afghan, you would probably want to sew them in better. You know, if it's going to get a lot of wear and tear, you want to make sure it's not going to fall apart. So right here, I'm going to go back in here and sew this back here, and then there's that, and I lay my scissors flat on the piece. I went to the store the other day and I just grabbed a bunch of scissors because we're always losing them here at the shop, and I grabbed that little pair, and they're actually little kid scissors, but they cut, so it's all good. So I'm going to sew all the ends in. And sunflower Fridgie. So to get this pattern, just go to maggiescrochet.com, and in the search there's over 200 free patterns there, and just go to the search and put in sunflower Fridgie, and you'll find it. It will come up. Okay. Alright, that's it. It's not that hard. Look how cute that came out. Different colors. And there's the little typical sunflower. And this, maybe I would call it a lotus flower. It's really cute. So that's how you make the flowers. Thank you very much for watching. Join my YouTube channel, which is Maggie Weldon, and leave any comments or requests, and join Facebook, which is Maggie's Crochet, or visit our website, which is maggiescrochet.com.